Now, I'm going to ask each of you the same question, and I expect a different answer.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, you first. What is Motorkite Dreaming about?
Motorkite Dreaming is a feature adventure documentary about two blokes from the Adelaide Hills who fly micro-lites 4,000 kilometres from the Coorong in South Australia all the way across 4 deserts to Beagle Bay up near Broome.
Now, Carroll, from your point of view, what is Motorkite Dreaming about?
Motorkite Dreaming is an opportunity, a serious opportunity for engagement of Aboriginal people across the breadth of this country, which takes in 4,000 kilometres and 20 Aboriginal nations. And the protocol is vitally important to allow the film to actually be made.
Right. Now, I'm now going to have a go. Motorkite Dreaming is about 4 people who plan to cross Australia from Adelaide to Beagle Bay.
Near Broome.
4,000 kilometres right across the guts of this country.
That's right.
Across 20 Aboriginal nations.
Correct.
And they spend, I understand, 4 years actually planning this trip.
That's about right.
The last week of which is devoted to actually flying what are, in effect, lawnmowers attached to hand gliders.
Yeah, and these blokes got their licences the day before we flew out of South Australia.
Right. So in a way, the spiritual aspects of the film aside, this could be described as a knucklehead adventure, a foolhardy adventure that was absolutely begging for something to go wrong, and things do go wrong in the film. I have to say, guys, just overall, it is a splendid film. It is so entertaining, apart from it being visually impressive and stunning with the beautiful vistas and the wonderful aerial shots. There is a lot going on with this group of 4 people, the 2 guys, the 2 pilots, and their wonderful, incredibly patient partners. Can I just first ask both of you guys, when you started out, knowing what you know about the lack of preparation and, frankly, the amateur ranking of these guys, were you actually expecting to make it halfway across the journey, or were you expecting it to be kind of a chronicle of disaster?
Well, I'll be honest with you, after about the 3rd day, I had the imaginary script. I tore it up and just said to myself, let's get the bastards there alive.
That's right.
That's right. What we know in the preparation, especially not having licenses, in particular one of the pilots, but especially the journey ahead of us, especially being familiar with all the different terrains, and especially just the length of the flight.
Yeah, it was absolutely... We basically thought that they were going to die every day because they're such rank amateurs, these blokes. And as you described, they left getting their licences to the day before we left. And they got them signed off, which is great, so that they were legal to fly. But, 4,000 kilometres and out there in the desert, there's big thermals, a lot of dust, a lot of mud, dangerous, very, very difficult flying conditions. The boys had quite a few spills, and I think, Carroll and I are just thankful, and we feel very blessed that we had just the right number of aircraft accidents. So they did have a few bingles, which could have been pretty serious, but in the end, nobody died.
Can I just ask you again, just for the record, I mean, there are incidents in this film where they run out of fuel.
Yeah.
And then they try to take off in the middle of the scrub, and they don't even clear the pathway, so that when things go belly up, you kind of think, well, you kind of asked for that. I mean, you didn't even check to see if there were obstructions.
No, they're complete clowns.
Yeah. How were you reacting while you were making the film? As a director of the documentary, did you step in and try to affect what was going on by giving them advice and saying, listen, you guys really have to sharpen up?
Yeah, we did. Okay. Look, as a director, you don't want to step in too much. You want story to follow its own course, and you want to be there to observe it. However, when they're friends of yours and they're taking risks that you consider to be ridiculous, I mean, it's very dangerous to drive a car across Australia. But flying a micro-lite attached to a lawnmower, I mean, this is ludicrous. And these blokes, almost every day, without fail, something crazy happened to them, and we were left wondering, scratching our heads. Sometimes the communications wouldn't work, and they were 30 miles off in the bush miles from where anyone could hear you scream, and we'd lose them for half a day. We couldn't find them. We'd be in a panic, and then at the last moment they'd turn up. So this happened almost every day, and yeah, we did get pretty irate with them, but they didn't listen.
Now,
No.
now, Carroll, how was your temperament during the making of this film, going across all these Aboriginal nations and seeing these guys basically buffoons with wings?
Well, given the fact that we did the protocol, we had by way of a separate reconnaissance, and that was done, 12 months earlier. So it effectively gave the traditional owners who speak for land enough time to adjudicate, and so for absolute clearance. So all the 20 nations knew these guys were coming through. Of course, when they were flying around, and yes, I was concerned that they might come down in special areas where they shouldn't be going, but that wasn't the case. I had concerns because primarily before the flight, one of the mothers of the daughters came up to me with concern on the face and asked, "Could you please bring my daughter back alive?" And of course I said, "Absolutely." And with all the trials, tribulations, near misses, and accidents, wow, I'm still pinching myself that everyone got back alive.
Now, can you just explain to us what a cultural protocol officer actually does on a film shoot? Because that was one of the duties that you performed on the film.
Well, absolutely.
And what does that actually mean?
That means engaging the traditional owners for each of the language groups, and incredibly with my contribution to the Australian continent across all mediums of performing arts, theatre, particularly music, and working in the industry at very high levels and indulging many of the musicians from out there, and from the earlier film of Wrong Side of the Road. My name is exponential out there. Everybody knows me, and that was the key, really, because and not only that, I've travelled through that countries before, so and I knew where we were going, and I knew who to speak with, and that was the absolute case. So
now I want to know what would have occurred if a different set of filmmakers had decided to make the same film, but didn't bother or care about the nations, the Aborigines. If they just wanted to make an adventure movie and just went across the country without this consultation, would something occur during that process that would stop them or that would make them aware?
It'd be a different film. I mean,
absolutely.
Plenty of Australian films have been made in the past without protocols.
Yes.
And, that was the sort of colonial experience of filmmaking. You just go out there, stick a camera in someone's face, shoot the footage, take it away and make some cash out of it. And, of course, Aboriginal communities hate that. They feel like they're the most studied people on earth, They feel like there's always a camera in their face. There's always a scientist doing a study. There's always a local politician doing this or that. So for us to go there the year before, drive through the whole place, speak to the traditional owners, speak to the elders and ask permission, what it meant was that when we went back, we were guests. So the film was different because we were guests, and because of that, they took us in, showed us great stuff, met the great people, and got great stories.
Right. Now, how is this film being released? My understanding is that you have pretty much a triple platform. You're opening up theatrically.
Yep.
And it's going to be available on DVD in a couple of weeks. And also it's available online through your website. Well, it will be available online. It
will be, probably in about a month,
Just tell me a little bit about the distribution model for this movie.
Okay, so, it's an innovative distribution model. It's an independent film. We obviously haven't got massive budgets like Thor or other Marvel-type films, so we're using a lot of social media. Screen Impact are a Sydney company. They're a very suave group in Sydney. They and the wonderful ladies working there are engaging social media to get it out there. Now, we're screening, we've been around the country this month. Carol's been on the road for a month. Singing up the country, which has been fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, man, that's one of the outcomes. I mean, because the value of protocols is definite engagement by participation by the elders and the communities. What extends from there is, even though I'm doing contemporary songs, they in fact depict the landmass we've been through and depict the experience of the adventures. And now I'm out there singing the songs live ahead of each of the promo screenings that we've just done. So in many ways, the value for me is I'm singing the country up as the tradition has done for centuries in ceremonial form, but I'm doing it in contemporary form, and the engagement and the reception by by the punters has been nothing short of phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Just great sort of outpouring of positive stuff. So we finish our 1 month independent rollout this week in Melbourne, and we're playing at Hawthorn Wednesday night. Then we're down in Geelong on Thursday, back in Melbourne Friday night and Saturday in Melbourne, and then in Ballarat on Sunday.
Wow.
So that's the cinema thing, and if your listeners can check it out on the big screen, it really is something. It's a view of the country that you just don't normally get.
Now, I just want to know about, so that's the distribution model that you are using.
Yes.
Okay, ideally, Charlie, what would you like to have occurred? Would you have liked some big distributor to have seen the film and picked
it's
it up?
super rare for any Australian documentary to get anywhere near a cinema. So we're absolutely stoked that we've had this 1 month. What we're looking for now is one of these cinema chains that we've been playing at, which have been Palace and Village and Wallace and Event. We'd like one of these big chains to pick us up, put some trust in the film for a month or 2 months and put it on, so the average Australian punters, Middle Australia, this film is for Middle Australia, can get in there to their local cinema and have this unbelievable view of the country that they've probably never seen before.
Now, is the DVD going to include any of the other, 100 hours of footage?
1,000 hours of footage. just to give you listeners.
Are you going to have that like a 26-disc box set?
That's right.
With all the offcuts.
That's 1,000 hours of footage.
The world's longest bonus menu.
It'll take the rest of your life to watch it.
Be careful what you wish for.
No, the DVD will have plenty of extras. Like we did shoot 1,000 hours, and look, Mad Max Fury Road only shot 450 hours. We're not saying that Miller's, losing it. We're just saying that he only shot 450 hours. So there'll be incredible interviews, lots of music. Carroll actually wrote a whole bunch of original music for the film. Plus, what other musos have we got on there? On the soundtrack?
We've got the essential Us Mob, which I'm the original founding member of.
Yes, you are.
WOW was Australia's first black political band.
Yes, I know.
And
way before Warumpi Band, way before Yothu Indy.
Yeah, yes, and we're considered grandfathers of Aboriginal rock music. In fact, nobody out in the bush has forgotten us. It's been incredible. But I just wanted to say that during the soft promotional tour that I've just finished, everybody is familiar with us, particularly our age group. And I must say the inquiring minds that are uplifting through questions by young people in the screen has been phenomenal. And the inquiring means right through Middle Australia. That demographic is unbelievable, particularly when the film demonstrates that right out in the bush there's been phenomenal contribution to the Australian economics situation with Papunya Tula Hearts, the music industries, there's Yothu Indy, there's Rumpy Band, and even Midnight Oil has written a magnificent song based on the Aboriginal experience.
Now, Carol, I've got to ask you specifically. This film has, apart from it being, just a balls and all great adventure film, and it is a very entertaining film, and I don't think the enterprise would have been worthwhile if it wasn't entertaining, message or no message. So primarily it is a very entertaining film to watch. So that's the strongest recommendation. Now, as well as that, you have an intent in terms of message that you want to get across, which I think comes across very gently and very consistently, and it's a very strong message. But Carol, as one of the backbones, as one of the foundation stones of black music in this country, as one of the most important people in the history of Australian music, who has seen what Indigenous people have gone through, given the state of things today, where we're seeing some horrendous things happening with the culture, with detention, with football, for crying out loud, and given your political stance, how do you think the message is going to play today?
Well, absolutely. Look, I think that's quite an easy question to answer. Simply, yes, I mean, we do have political reasons to continue the Aboriginal fight. This film is not an Aboriginal film. It's about two adventurers. Without the Aboriginal participation, the film simply wouldn't have got this tremendous outcome. As quintessentially, the message in the movie is seen all through the landscape, all through the centuries of caring by Aboriginal people. The permaculture has really set the scene. Above and beyond that, yes, our issues politically are very important. But what I want Australians to do is engage the grandfathers and grandmothers of the world, and engage what the film is about, because politically, there is another serious issue coming up that will engage everything like genocide, and that's called ecocide. Without any plant form or without any animal life in this beautiful country, then simply there's no humanity. The humanity that the Aboriginal people have engaged, this film, is across every aspect of the following words: love, peace, harmony, acceptance, understanding, certainty and longevity of humanity on earth. And that's certainly what Aboriginal culture is on about.
Carroll, can I just ask you again very directly what you think the state of Australia is at the moment? Is it a media-fueled impression that is being sent out that there is heightened racism in the Australian community? Do you think that it's being exaggerated by the media, or do you think that there is something broken in the culture?
Well, I certainly think it's a learnt thing, and I'm excited that it's a learnt thing, which means in this modern world it can be unlearnt. So therefore, I think all films before this one certainly certainly continue to have a role to play as in terms of gauging middle Australians. I certainly think the majority of Australians don't think like the 3% up the top of the triangle. I think the system of governance in this country under democracy is a worthwhile tool for all Australians to engage. And my message to Australians is that it is the people of any country that govern that country that certainly put into power the leadership that is to lead the country. And I think I certainly know that working with Charlie Hill-Smith and the adventures that the collaboration and the spirit, if Australians get along and look at this particular film, then they will see, and people that come to see films like this have an engaging mind. Certainly in our young people, they're as an individual. Before Australians, that inquiring mind does know that they do know that there's something wrong. We simply have a tool. We simply have created a movie that I believe that is an access point for those inquiring minds to work with us and to bring about change.